Hello, everybody. Welcome to Social Work 668. This is week 3, and I'm going to get started on our material for this week, which is really focused on needs assessments. All right, so fireworks, you have made it through 2 weeks of class. Hooray, and you are all soaring. Many of you have been in communication with me, and I just wanted to say we really want to continue to talk to me, continue to send me questions or challenges that you might be experiencing. It is central, especially I think in an online learning environment. So just some general reflections about our communication and process so far. When sending me an email, please put Social Work 668 in the subject line, just because I teach across the curriculum and work with a lot of students in other departments as well. After you read an email from me, could you just send me a gotcha email saying that you received my response, just so that we can complete the cycle of communication. Make sure in your soft chalk lessons that you're hitting the finish button after each question. And you might not see what I have embedded in the lesson for whatever reason. If that is the case, then there is something going on with the technology or with the browser that you're using. So I just wanted to cover some common problems that might come up. So see some tips in the Start Here tab under our Social Work 668 Blackboard site. You might not have the most up-to-date plugins or Java. If you see a blank chalkboard, an outline, or a white square in the soft chalk, that should be a picture or text or a link. So something is wrong. If you see that, something should be in there. So that isn't a good indicator that something is going off or is off within the soft chalk technology. So please look into that. I'll give you some more tips in just a minute. And everything, of course, in this class is due on Monday at 11:59 p.m. I'm going to repeat that throughout this PowerPoint. So here are some common technology issues across the board that I've experienced over the years. Some people still use Firefox, which is totally okay, but Firefox might be preventing you from seeing a soft chalk image. So just click on this tab for tips on how to do that. A recap from last week, we focused on ethical issues in research and program evaluation. We also read an excerpt from our common reading, the 1619 project, which really document ethical issues within the field of medicine and research. Really enjoyed reading your reflections this week on multicultural competency and building those within program evaluation spaces. So really enjoyed seeing what you all got out of the last reading. So you reviewed the journal articles and you completed your journals and you've been moving right along. Readings each week, just to give you a few quick tips, and I know many of you are online veteran learners, is that soft chalk lessons, the way I've designed them and the way that really this course sequence has designed them, is to do an overview of the reading. So I highly recommend reading the assignments prior to completing the tasks in Blackboard, which includes reviewing the soft chalk lessons and the participation points for the week. So what I recommend doing is kind of just going over everything first, looking at your assignment, whether that be a journal or a blog, etc., and then going back and doing the reading, and then doing the soft chalk next, because the soft chalk is always a review of the reading, and that might save you some time. Be sure to turn all your assignments on time. This course mandates that your grade is lowered 2 points for each day late. However, I am always open to giving extensions if there are some special or extenuating circumstances, and that we've had that full cycle of communication saying, hey, Dr. Harris, I am in a crisis this week. Something came up. I'm going to need some extra time. If that is the case, then I will not take points off. So just know that there is some flexibility in the grading, because I understand that life happens and we are all juggling a lot. So I want to really take some time in week 3 to attune you to understanding needs assessments and really what the purpose of them is. So sometimes a needs assessment at a programmatic level can be intimidating for students. Like, how am I going to take on this huge research endeavor over the course of a semester. But I want you to think about this idea that as social workers out in the field, we are constantly doing needs assessments on behalf of our client. So this slide really gives examples of, let's say you have been asked to do an assessment with a child. From that assessment, you might identify some needs that this child has, and then work your way out into the child's environment. Let's say the referral came from the school system, then you will reach out to the school system. Let's say you're interviewing teachers. Let's say you're interviewing the child's parents or caregivers in terms of behavior that they might be displaying. We are constantly engaging in needs assessments at a micro level of social work practice. And these skills really scaffold on to the macro aspects of doing needs assessments on behalf of programs or organizations. So our very first step in the program evaluation journey is really, prior to developing a program, prior to implementing a program, we really need to understand the needs of our community, the needs of our population of focus. So we need to assess and consider multiple factors. We need to really understand the organization and the community. We need to identify key members of that community. And it really gives us a chance to really look closely at the organization, understanding needs, and also understanding multiple and competing needs as well, because then that allows us to really implement a program that addresses those needs. And we will do that in the second assignment, which is our logic model. But for right now, we are focusing on a needs assessment. So why do we conduct needs assessments? So in the research and evaluation world, we consider this an important step to assess needs in any program, as well as the community when needed. And what are you wanting to know about your chosen program or community? This is really like the emergent process of discovery. So let's say you are charged with implementing a program, and you know that there's funds for this program available, but you really need to understand what the needs are of the community to make sure that you actually design and develop a program that's meeting an existing need. So my recommendation is I go further in depth in terms of all of these points with your needs assessment assignment, which is under the assignment tab. So there's 4 really important pieces there. There is an overview of the assignment in terms of a video I filmed. There is also the directions / assignment outline. There is a rubric for the assignment, and there's also an exemplar needs assessment assignment from an outstanding student who's taken this course in the past. So please review all of those. This week we have a soft chalk activities. We have some quiz poppers. Brief answers are fine. We also have some chapter review questions. Okay. So the interviews, we also have a journal assignment this week, and this journal really gets you kind of poised and out in the field to identify project partners for your needs assessment. So you're really going to quickly need to identify 3 project partners. If you are focusing on a community, identify at least 3 project partners who provide services. Examples are below. You can reach out to service recipients. Often those are clients. You can reach out to service providers, and you can reach out to others. So for example, policymakers, volunteers, people that are involved in the key issues impacting the organization, maybe board members, for example. I do want to recommend, I know number 1 says service recipients, but I think that is sometimes challenging for this assignment, in the sense that clients don't get a lot out of participating in this class project. And oftentimes, particularly with young social workers starting up, or people that are newer / earlier career, this can actually create some sort of conflict of interest because they're doing something for you to help you pass the class without getting much in return. So I've found that a lot of my students have the most success with this assignment if they interview people in the workforce, let's say child protective services workers, hospice workers, teachers, school social workers. So people that are delivering services that have been there for a while, that understand the needs of the organization. Okay, so interview questions. So in order to be able to conduct a needs assessment, you need to develop an interview guide, which is really a framework for having a targeted or specific conversation with your participants, with the people that you have identified to answer the questions for your needs assessment assignment. Something to keep in mind ahead of time, and I'm happy to review any interview guide drafts that you'd like me to see. I tend to give a lot of feedback related to asking open-ended questions. I'd also like to give you some guidance around asking research-informed questions. So for each thing that we are investigating, or with each need, we want to think about doing a literature review, a lit review, or a search of the literature prior to developing our interview guide question. And a part of our assignment is really making a clear connection to how did I develop these interview questions and how are they informed by the literature? So it's not acceptable in this assignment to just say, I came up with like 10 open-ended questions. I just kind of pulled them out of my big, beautiful brain. That's fine, but you really want to have a framework to have these conversations that's really grounded in the literature. So for example, if let's say you're really interested in understanding the needs of child welfare workers, what does the literature tell us about the main needs of child welfare workers? And then we might want to ask some questions targeted at that literature or informed by that literature. Okay, so our needs assessment assignment, the complete assignment is due during week 6, Blackboard at 11:59 p.m., and that is worth 40 points. However, we're going to work on chunks of this assignment in the next coming weeks through our journal exercises or our weekly assignments. And you are welcome to use any material that you develop for this course in terms of our weekly assignments to move that right into your complete needs assessment assignment. So next week, we are getting into qualitative methods in evaluation. That is my favorite topic. We're going to go through a session on data collection and then data analysis, where we will learn a little bit about qualitative coding. So last thought for the week, push yourself because no one else is going to do it for you. Many of you are in the final stages of your degree. Just take this one step at a time. Reach out if you have any questions. And I wish you a great week. Thank you so much. Bye.